The US just invaded Venezuela under the guise of fighting the cartels. The very government that imported millions of kilos of cocaine into its own country to fund a black ops war in Nicaragua now wants us to believe that they've invaded Venezuela to fight the very drug problem they created. So I wanted to remind everyone that over 80 foreign governments have been overthrown by the United States. And no, most of them weren't dictatorships. They were democratically elected governments. The playbook is almost always the same. A country elects a leader who wants to use its land, oil, or resources for the people, which threatens the profits of the US. So the CIA steps in, funding opposition groups like ISIS and Al-Qaeda, planting stories in the media. Does Assad is gassing his own people, or Iraq has weapons of mass destruction ring any bells? As well as arming rebels or even collapsing their economy. And then comes the coup, where a pro-US military regime is installed. It's almost always a massacre, resulting in the deaths of millions of civilians. It's never about democracy, human rights, or fighting drugs. It's always about power, profit, and control. I just created an entire timeline of all the coups the US has orchestrated in Latin America just over the last 75 years. So just comment in Latin below, and I'll send it to you for free. But here's a glimpse. Guatemala, 1954, when President Arbenz gave land back to his people, the CIA branded him a communist, ran a coup, which plunged the country into a civil war that killed over 200,000 people. Chile, 1973, President Allende was overthrown, and the US installed one of the most brutal dictators of all time, who killed and tortured thousands of civilians. Why? Because Allende wanted to nationalize their copper and improve labor rights in his country. There are dozens of others: Haiti, Dominican Republic, El Salvador, Brazil, Bolivia, Nicaragua, and beyond. The coups in Latin America are never about fighting tyranny, communism, or drugs. And the invasions in the Middle East are never about fighting terrorism. They are always about fulfilling the Greater Israel Project, which is to expand Israel's borders. Don't believe me? Then why do IDF soldiers wear the map of Greater Israel on their uniforms? And why did the US destroy Iraq and Libya during the War on Terror when they had nothing to do with Al-Qaeda? But I digress. Back to Venezuela. The US government, CIA, and DEA created the global drug trade, and they expect you and I to believe they suddenly care about stopping it. The same government that guarded poppy fields in Afghanistan. Give me a break. This is exactly why the world doesn't trust the US, because they've been the villains throughout most of our history.